This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol. It's a freaking Tuesday. I'm not high enough for this shit. Again, T-Minus, welcome in. Singing Sacramento track. Let me tell you, it might be shitty traffic in Los Angeles area because I know of at least 3 police chases that happened today. At least 3 happened today. DJ Dub, T-Minus, Clinically, Princess Kimberly, Warlord. I love how Warlord is in the Discord. Saying I lost my mind. What on, how did he put it? Sweet Mother of Jesus, what is that thumbnail? It was a thumbnail. I literally asked him if he thought it was okay or not. It was Warlord approved. I have the receipts. Also, I didn't say that. Senator Mark Wayne Mullin said it. On all the posts, I put, Dear Feds, I didn't say this. He did. Not high enough for this shit. Apparently some shit just went down at the Marjorie Taylor Greene rally. I have it. It is still going on or just ended. And apparently she had the cops taser some of her constituents. People got rowdy. People got rowdy at the Chuck Grassley town hall held yesterday. Holiday, good evening. We're going to watch some of that. Biden giving his first remarks since leaving office. I was just watching some right-wing account was like Biden started yelling randomly. I watched the clip. It was only like 20 seconds long. And it was a normal, he was like, people deserve to live in dignity. Like, that's all it was. Flash. Make sure I can quickly go live when the feds kick in my door. Fair enough. Fair enough, Flash. Because I think they're going to. If Joni Ernst hasn't contacted him yet, the things I've said about the president and some of the videos I've posted, and I probably shouldn't have called Jim Justice Senator Fat Ass either. If they're going to deport people to El Salvador, I mean, for running their mouths, I'm going to make it me. Watch me not even get any fucking traction off of this. Watch me just get deported in the middle of the night. There's still like 30 people watching me. I'm not even gonna get any infamy of it. Nobody is gonna pay any attention to me once I'm down in El Salvador. Do the grease pig, just baby oil. That's the P. Diddy method of getting out of the getting away from the cops. Casey, it's fall in El Salvador. Almost winter time. It's kind of reversed. I mean, I love the fall, so. Good evening, Casey. Good evening, Battle Opossum. Here's your meme of the day. Sorry you're a peasant or whatever. Troll Patrol live from Gitmo. Justin got deported. Yeah, that seems fair. Well, I told Battle Opossum I keep getting these job offers from like Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. He's like, you can't go over there. You'll get beheaded. DJ Dub salty tonight, or who even called a fascist? I think we can fix Casey. Casey's all right. Bagheera's not here right now. I think Bagheera's a troll. Now, I'm not the one that wants to get bone sawed. It is Sparkles that wants Prince Bonesaw to go to town on her. By the way, like, she sends me this shit. She's getting these messages from, like, 360 dubstep or some shit. And I'm like, how'd you get on a mailing list for 360 dubstep? And she's like, well, they had a SpongeBob rave, and I was waiting for the Shrek rave. I'm like, Shrek rave? Okay, that makes way more sense. Because just Sparkles doesn't seem like a dubstep kind of person. But Shrek rave kind of does seem very up Sparkles' alley. I don't know what you guys did to Fleabag. Did you ban him? Did you... Like, wait a minute, like, didn't he get his account taken away or something? Somebody got their account revoked, and then they came back from another account, and then, like, they got ban evaded, yeeted, didn't they? DJ Dub apparently went to the Shrek rave. Anonymously. I mean, I couldn't see Sparkles at a rave, but then you say Shrek rave, and I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. Apparently, they do these Shrek raves, or SpongeBob. Sparkles said there was a SpongeBob rave. Well, you didn't follow the theme, because it was people like Sparkles that wasn't there to just... The people were there specifically for a Shrek rave or a SpongeBob rave. So I can't imagine that they would... See, I DJ'd at an Electric Cowboy. How many of you have been to an Electric Cowboy or know what an Electric Cowboy is? Because it's like a chain of bars in the Southeast. I think it extends all the way over to like Texas and Oklahoma. So I DJ'd at a Electric Cowboy. Battle Opossum? What is it? Synonymously or synonymously? I don't understand the distinction. Biden culture for you. My lord, good evening. Okay, so I'm DJing at the Electric Cowboy, and they've got a very specific set list, right? I think I might have told this story to you before, DJ Dub. If I have, I'm sorry. The rest of the chat hasn't heard it. But, like, you had to start at, like, something that's 80 beats per minute, and it was a country song. And you played, like, 2 or 3 country songs. I can't remember exactly what it was. And they built in BPM. And then you would get into the next 4 songs had to be, you know, blah, 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 hip-hop, build BP, and it went all the way up, so, like, each song got faster and faster, and then you had to do the rotation over again, hit them with a country song that was 80 BPMs. And it would just, like, kill the dance floor, and a whole other crowd would come on. Everybody that's dancing would go off and buy drinks. Like, it was very purposeful. It had been focus tested, whatever the fuck they had to do, that they knew how long to play blah, blah, blah music, and it would drive people to the bar. And I did that on a Thursday night. I went by their fucking strategy on a Thursday night. Everything went well. We get to Friday night, I've got people requesting shit. I've got, like, all kinds of stuff going on. I'm feeling myself, and I'm playing what the crowd is grooving to, right? And I killed it. I come out of the booth, and people are, like, fucking high-fiving me. They're just like, oh, that's the most fun we've had here. Wow, that was great. I get to the back, and it's like, well, we're going to have to fire you. So, like, I'm walking out, and people are still, like, high-fiving me and shit that work at the bar, right? They don't know I've been fired. And that was my experience in Electric Cowboy, where I worked for 2 or 3 nights maybe. Like, I feel like I trained on a Wednesday night, took over on a Thursday night, and then, like, Friday night I got fired because it was busy and Justin was and they also wouldn't let me sit down, and that pissed me off. He was like, we want you to stand while you're announcing, you know, because that's a thing in radio. And I'm like, I'm only announcing every 2 or 3 songs for just a few seconds. You don't even let me say all that much. Drink specials and shit like that. Give me a fucking chair. I did not like that environment at all. All right, let's get to the news, bitches. Also, this is not your last time seeing Katy Perry tonight. Starting off, it is a day that ends in Y in the United States of America. So you know what that means. We're going to Dallas, where apparently there were 4 people injured, and it's still an active situation as of like an hour ago.
Happened over in Dallas, Texas. Again, a live now look over at Wilmer Hutchins High School, where we are seeing that perhaps
Avalon, did I tell you good evening?
Being very, very soon here from investigators down on the ground regarding that shooting that happened at a high school. It looks like this law enforcement official is getting set up to provide some details. Let's listen in momentarily and see if we can hear.
DJ Dub, were you here the other day when I introduced the Chat to Horse girl that played at Coachella? And then after we got off all like YouTube and Kick and everything, I played the video, and it wasn't bad. Bagheera, good evening. You hate to say it, but I lost my last. What was my last debate, and how do you think I lost? I'm interested. I don't even know what my last debate was. I showed it to the chat because I figured there'd at least be one person turned on by her. What was my... for those of you who, maybe it was when I was on with Rump Stump one night after the show. Is that, Torchy, was that the one? Tickbag, welcome. Plump is a great Republican. He would tell you he's not a Republican. I was just gonna bring that up. If that's what you're referring to as my last debate, that was like a really dumb motherfucker. He said that 50% of the medical field quit because they refused to take the vaccine, and I went, what? That's not true. And I was like, you gotta give me a source on that. That is not true at all. Like, that's hilarious. And then the woman who was a nurse, apparently, or something in the medical field, looked it up, and it was 20% of nurses refused to take the vaccine. Now, 50% of the entire medical field is wild. That's a wild claim. And then it ended up being 20% of nurses. So they looked that up and then said that I was wrong. Then said that proved me wrong. And I laughed my ass off. Now, they did, like, the embarrassing thing during that whole thing, and it had nothing to do with my debate. The most embarrassing thing was they kind of put me on the spot. I said I would do one of my comedy bits, and I went to do it, and I blanked on it. Now, I've been on stream for like 7-8 hours or something at this time, and I'm really high. And I went to the first bit that came to mind, because I wanted to do like a one-liner, because I knew it'd be hard to tell something that had a setup or was a story. And it was. Eventually I tried to, and it was very hard. So I was trying to do a one-liner, and the one-liner that I thought of off the top of my head, I had done that when I was on with them on like the Friday before that. So I was like, oh, I can't use that one. So I tried to recall like a bit that I did 10, 15 years ago, and I completely blanked on the setup for it. And that was falling in my face. I admit, I got embarrassed right there. But I made up for it because then I ended with my story about why deaf people hate me. And that's the bit I've been working on. Buddy, why would I give a shit if anybody in Plump Stream trusts me? Why would I give a shit if dumb fucks trust me or not? So you can go and watch the video of me just owning them. Like the first time I was ever on with them, I owned them for 2.5 hours. It was hilarious, and I highly encourage it. You can't go and find the video on any of their channels, but it's on my channel, and that should be everything you need to know. I'm never embarrassed by my performance. You can always find my videos. You can't go find the video of me on with them on one of their channels. Ponder Monkey, good evening. Rump Plump Stump. How do I not speak facts? What have I been wrong about, Tickbag? Do you want to hop in the Discord? Do you want to get on the phone? 917-830-4359. YOU''RE. I can't own being a leftist. I'm a leftist because leftist policy is the prescription for what is going on in the country right now. You've seen 50 years of deregulation, cutting taxes on rich people, and this is the result. Everybody agrees the country is going in the wrong direction. Everybody agrees shit's fucked up right now. Trump ran on making America great again. Well, let's talk about the policies that existed when America was great. Now, besides the fact that Trump is actually talking about restoring like Jim Crow, once a segregated society with caste systems. That's what Trump is actually talking about when he says making America great again. But let's talk about when America was actually great. It was the 50s, 60s. We saw the greatest expansion of GDP and the middle class. We had high corporate tax rates, over 90%. We had strong regulations, a strong social safety net. So yeah, let's make America great again. And this time, let's include everybody. Let's not redline minorities out of the wealth creation in this country. Tickbag, like, you ain't gonna siphon any of my fans. Because that's why I post my videos in Plump's Discord, because I'm clearly the better streamer. I'm hilarious. That video of me dunking on Senator Jim Justice for saying that kids don't get enough candy in schools, that's hilarious. That video of me mocking Senator Mark Wayne Mullen for saying that you should go and shoot Congress people, like, go watch my shit, dude. You think Plump has anything on this? You're a dumbass. Right-wingers are morons. So are you going to call in, or are we going to go on with the news? If you say so, his approval rating is plummeting. I love it. This is how dumb right-wingers are. In one of the political groups I'm in, somebody shared out a story about Joe Biden having a low approval rating while leaving office. It was 42%. And I pointed out, because he was calling Biden a failure. And I was like, okay, if you think 42% is a failure, do you know what Trump's approval rating is right now? It's 42%. Ah ha ha ha. Lenny, good evening. Nice try to troll, my friend. We would have liked to have talked to you on the phone. I totally would have played with you. The chat may still play with you, but we're going to go on with the news. It's a day that ends in Y in the United States of America, so you know what that means.
Any updates?
Right here, X, focal point right here. Since they don't have a podium, Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I think we're waiting for the press conference from the officials. This just happened within the last couple of hours. This was posted.
They are walking up now.
About 40 minutes ago.
All right, so you can hear that the photographer on the ground saying they are walking.
4 people injured.
Again,
We do not believe that they have a suspect in custody at this time.
First, you will hear from our Assistant Chief of Police in Dallas ISD, our Assistant Police Chief here in Dallas ISD, and her name is Christina Smith. That is spelled Christina, Smith spelled the traditional way, followed by Dr. Stephanie Elizalde.
3 people shot, a fourth was grazed with a bullet.
Stephanie, Stephanie, Elizalde, Elizalde. You will hear from them first, and then we will only take 2 questions. So following that, you will hear from them, and then we'll be escorted out. But thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. Earlier today, we responded to a shooting call at Wilmer Hutchins High School. This is a tragic situation, and I know everyone wants answers, and we are going to give you what we know at this point. It remains a fluid investigation, and all of our law enforcement partners are helping us to work on this investigation. We had 4 students injured today and were transported to area hospitals. The suspect has not been arrested, but we have identified the suspect, and as I mentioned, we have many of our law enforcement partners helping us, and we are working on locating and arresting the suspect at this time. I'd like to now introduce Dallas ISD Superintendent Stephanie Elizalde.
Thank you, Chief. Today, as we all know, the unthinkable has happened, and quite frankly, this is just
At least no one died.
too familiar, and it should not be familiar. I do want everyone to know that I just got off the phone with Governor Abbott, who just called to get an update, a status report, and to offer any resources that we need to assist us. So I know that there are many questions, and we're not going to have all the answers right now because some of the information will be inaccurate. So we will do our very best because we know it is important to be always transparent. I do need to take a moment to ensure that first and foremost we know that we have been able to reunify all of our high school students with their parents and guardians. The team of Dallas ISD Police Department and our Office of Emergency Management, along with all of the agencies that assisted us in ensuring that we ensured everyone was safe. And it is important to note that within 2 minutes, of course, we already had an officer here at the high school that was able to respond immediately to the incident.
Yet they don't have anybody in custody. Come the fuck on. He was able to respond immediately. Let's hear from eyewitnesses.
We continue to follow breaking developments after a school shooting in Dallas.
The shooting happened early this afternoon at Wilmer Hutchins High School. At this hour, police do not have a suspect in custody.
Investigators say 4 students were shot, 3 suffering gunshot wounds. The other was grazed by a bullet. They are all expected to survive. Again, the suspect has been identified but is not in police custody. The Dallas ISD superintendent addressed the media less than an hour ago. Here's what she had to say.
Today, as we all know, the unthinkable has happened, and quite frankly, this is just becoming way.
I mean, at least no one died.
Should not be familiar.
We have team coverage tonight. As you can imagine, parents and students were visibly shaken in the aftermath of the shooting. We start with NBC5's Alicia Barrera, who has that part of the story. Alicia?
Brian, there was really no hiding it for these parents. They were frantic, many of them losing their composure. They tell me that they were first notified of the shooting that happened inside of the school through a text message by their student. Later came the alert from Dallas ISD to their phones, but still it would be hours before they were able to be reunited with their student.
Parents of Wilmer Hutchins High School students forced to ditch their vehicles on the side of the road today.
I won't even allow us to walk up here, so I had to go all the way around
JJ Lemon and park over here. So that's why you see me walking this way.
Parents frustrated with the situation and desperate to see their child.
When you see your kid to school, they should be safe. This not safe.
Students themselves telling us they do not feel safe inside their school.
I was scared at the moment.
Where were you and what did you hear?
I was in my biology class and she was going over our work, and then I heard a few shots.
Moments later, students tell us they heard another round of gunfire.
But then it was 5 more after that, and then everybody just started running, and I was like, was that a gunshot?
Parents and students now demanding answers on how a loaded gun made it inside the campus.
They checked our bags and stuff, so I don't know how he got it in, because they do it one by one, each check our bags and stuff. And we all wear clear backpacks.
And many of the parents that we spoke to today say, and specifically the ones that had to live this last year, they say they are not willing to take any more risks. They do not want to sit around and wait for another round of answers, another round of changes. They tell me that they are willing to pull their kids from this school, seek transfers within Dallas ISD, and some parents saying they're willing to just simply pull their kid out of public school altogether and do homeschooling. Back to you.
All right, Alicia, thank you. We continue.
I'm an advocate of the pull-out method.
She was at that press conference a short time ago. Candace, what else have we learned?
The same questions that parents have. We listened to that press conference. Parents want to know, how did this happen, especially with those safety protocols and measures in place, and that still remains to be answered. But here's what we do know. We learned from Dallas Fire Rescue that 4 students were injured. Rescuers say that those ages range from age 15 to 18. The injuries go
But that's how you get babies.
Serious. Officers responded within minutes.
I don't want no babies.
As we heard, the suspect has been identified but not arrested. Tonight, Dallas ISD police would not say.
Oh, it does, DJ Dub. It totally does shit. It results in more arrests of students for petty shit. You saying it doesn't do shit. Come on. That's not funny. Oh, yeah, that too. I'll add that to the list. Somebody who does have a baby is a young man who was here legally, deported to El Salvador, and the Trump administration is now defying a court order, it seems.
WUSA 9 News at 6 starts with breaking new developments in the fight to bring home a wrongly deported Maryland man. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
And I'm Leslie Foster.
Hey, Bagheera, did you not get the part? We said it multiple times. They don't have anybody in custody. My God, man, listen. Listen. It's still an active situation.
Breaking new developments in the fight to bring home a wrongly deported Maryland man. Thank you for being here with us. I'm Lorenzo Hall.
And I'm Leslie Foster. A hearing in that case just wrapped up within the last hour, and it comes one day after a meeting at the White House between President Trump and President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador.
Yes, so both men say they have no plans to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia to the United States. That's despite a ruling from the U.S. Supreme Court ordering the Trump administration to facilitate his return.
Our Matt Gregory was inside the courtroom for today's hearing. He joins us now live from Greenbelt with the new developments. So, Matt, it was a pretty tense court appearance, too.
Yeah, it was a very tense court appearance. It was really, though, the government,
Oh my God! Bagheera's like, you're the one making the assumptions about him in the chat. Oh my God! You have to be a troll. Nobody is that goddamn stupid. Or maybe, but I just don't believe that a right-winger that was that stupid would be in my chat as much as Bagheera is. You see? He's like, Libertad. And then Daniel Radcliffe over here rubbing his face. I was going to mention Avalon brought it up. Yeah. His face says it all about what's going on in this court case.
For today's hearing, he joins us now live from Greenbelt with the new development. So, Matt, it was a pretty tense court appearance, too.
Yeah, it was a very tense court appearance. It was really, though, the government, the Department of Justice, being questioned repeatedly by the judge, Paul Lazinis, in this case. And in the end, what the judge has ruled basically is that the government has to show their work. What have they done to attempt to facilitate his return, and what are they going to do? So basically, this was going to be a status hearing. If you recall, a couple of weeks ago, this same judge ordered status hearings every few days on Kilmar Abrego Garcia's status in the El Salvadoran prison. What are the attempts being made to bring him back? And she told the government lawyers at the time, hey, you have to facilitate his return. So the crux of their argument today was around the term facilitate, which they argued does not necessarily apply to bring him back, saying that would go within sort of outside the boundaries of the court to deal with foreign sovereign nations. The judge said that's not the case. That's not what she's asking for. She's saying facilitate is pretty well outlined, and that means they must return him. And she wanted to see what those attempts look like to return him. So basically, this is what's going to happen going forward.
I know of a flight from El Salvador to Washington, D.C. that happened yesterday. He should have been on it.
An expedited discovery, essentially all the evidence that will be collected over the next 2 weeks and asked for in the form of interviews with DOJ officials and Department of Homeland Security officials. Those will have to be recorded in depositions. There will be interrogatories, some questioning, and other evidence offered. And the judge will say, as she put it, she will play, quote, referee in terms of how that evidence is going to come out or what that will look like. But she said basically what she wants to see between now and the next 2 weeks is the government's work on what they're doing to bring him home, because in her mind there is no sort of gray area on what facilitate means, and not at this point. And she says the Supreme Court has upheld her ruling here in the lower court. But afterwards, we spoke with the attorneys for the Abrego Garcia family, and they said
facilitate means make an action or process easy or easier. To make something easier, programs that facilitate access to health care, blah, blah, blah. To make something easier or more likely to happen.
This is a small one, but they feel like this was a big win in many ways.
We're not done yet, though. We need to keep applying pressure and keep pushing back against this narrative that the question of this case is about whether or not Kilmar is a quote-unquote terrorist. That's not what this question is about. That's not what this case is about. This case is about the government unlawfully and admitting to unlawfully removing a gentleman from this country, from Maryland, from his home, his family, his children, and taking no actions, no meaningful steps to fix that, as ordered by the Supreme Court in a unanimous decision.
Yeah, show your work. That was the order from the judge. She wants to know what the government is doing and what they plan to do, and they'll have to have that information in within the next few weeks. Of course, we're going to continue following this until
next few weeks.
You'll hear from the family of Kilmar Abrego Garcia as they continue to fight to bring him home. But for now, in Prince George's County, I'm Matt Gregory. Back to you.
Yeah, a long journey that seems like it's going to extend even longer as this back and forth continues.
Over the language that's being used here in this order.
That's right.
Matt, thank you.
And I keep hearing people say, oh, well, El Salvador says they won't return him. And here's my argument back to that. Are you telling me that the most powerful country in the world, who sent him there with President Art of the Deal, can't bring him back? Seriously. That's the argument. Yeah, miss me with that shit. Casey, he is married to an American citizen. He has an American citizen child. He was here legally. He was under an order to not be deported. to come into my chat and start making excuses is just reprehensible, my friend. NSE, welcome in. And here's the thing, and stick with me. Do not go anywhere, because Trump says he can do it to you too. Yes, he was under order to not be deported. That's not something to laugh at. This stream does indeed support Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You're right, Tick. A judge has said that he will halt Trump's use of this humanitarian parole.
Today we had a hearing specifically focused on the CHNV parole program. And to give a recap on what came out of that, there was a lot of discussion about a lot of laws, about a lot of legal issues at play here. It seems as if the court and the judge is inclined to block the mass revocation of validly issued parole grants that the government is trying to do with the Federal Register notice for CHNV beneficiaries who are currently here in the United States who still have time left on their parole grants. So she did not give this ruling from the bench, so it is not set in stone yet, but she indicated that this is potentially where she's heading. Additionally, we also discussed the issue of potentially certifying a class, and the judge indicated that she would be inclined to certify a class for CHNV beneficiaries who are here, who would be affected by this mass revocation of parole grants. This is still very early on in the case. We don't know when the judge will make her decision yet in terms of whether she will block the mass revocation of CHNV parole grants for individuals who are here in the United States, but we're hopeful she'll rule soon because April 24th is coming. It's 2 weeks away, and the judge seems to be inclined to move quickly given that time is passing, and each day that passes, just the stress and anxiety grows more and more. The judge recognized that this is unusual because this has never happened before. This is unprecedented. No administration has tried to, as far as we know, has tried to terminate parole in a massive way like this.
Closely following what he's doing with student visas by revoking them, I can assure you I'm going to play you one story out of Houston tonight. But that is not the only college that is facing revocation of student visas. My college in the hills of East Tennessee is having students' visas revoked by the administration. In East Tennessee. So if it's happening in East Tennessee, it's happening all over this country.
Professor at the University of Houston is preparing to leave the country after his visa was revoked. Hundreds of international students across the country and Texas are seeing their visas terminated by the federal government. Fox 26's Jonathan Mejia is live at the University of Houston, where he went and searched for some answers as to what exactly is happening here in Houston. Jonathan.
Yeah, Caroline, while it's a small fraction of international students who have had their visas revoked, an assistant professor, an upper-level math assistant professor, confirmed to students in a letter how he's being impacted by the recent visas revocation. In a letter sent to students that made its way to Reddit, Hyun-Seon Jeon, an assistant professor at the University of Houston, told his students that he must return to South Korea immediately after having his visa terminated unexpectedly. The University of Houston says the professor
South Korean
revoked based on his recent status as a doctoral student at another institution.
And the U.S. Department of Homeland Security has revoked the visas of over 300 international students and faculty members as well. And that has affected directly Texas, because it involves Texas universities, including the University of Texas, Texas A&M, University of North Texas, and Texas Tech.
With hundreds of international students left in legal limbo, immigration attorney Raed Gonzalez says all is not lost. Students can challenge the federal government in court.
There are ways of challenging the termination of your visa and to request a reinstatement if it was done by mistake or by charges that can be overcome. So they can be challenged.
While the University of Houston has more than 5,000 international students enrolled, the university says a small number have been impacted by the student visa's terminations, less than 1%. The university added that there are 146 international professors on campus and only one has been affected. Students on campus tell me they do not agree with what's been happening here at home, but also across the state and country.
I just believe that it's not fair. It's not fair at all. It's very invasive because they have gone through the process of trying to get to the country, one, and two, trying to get their education, as all of us are.
I think it's like an unfortunate situation, and I do feel bad for them. And it's not fair. I think it's not fair. They worked hard to even get to where they are.
So the termination of visas for international students is on the rise across the country, and here in the state of Texas, hundreds are being impacted. Reporting live here at the University of Houston, Jonathan Mejia, Fox.
As I said, it's not just colleges in big cities. It's all across the country. It happened in my hometown, the college I went to. Visa cancellation so panic for international students, with hundreds fearing deportation. At first, the Bar Association for Immigration Attorneys began receiving inquiries from a couple of students a day. These were foreigners studying in the U.S., and they discovered in early April their legal status has been terminated with little notice. To their knowledge, none of the students had committed a deportable offense. In recent days, the calls have begun flooding in. Hundreds of students have been calling to say they have lost legal status, seeking advice on what to do next. We thought it was going to be something that was unusual, said Matthew Mahona, a Boston-based immigration attorney who is getting about 6 calls a day from panicked international students, but it seems now like it's coming pretty fast and furious. And Trump, once again, where are the First Amendment warriors at? That are all about free speech. Especially the ones that kept bringing up Hunter Biden's laptop and the Twitter files. Where are those motherfuckers at? This is the actual government trying to stop universities from exercising their free speech. Trump administration is freezing billions in grants to Harvard.
Is freezing billions in federal aid to Harvard University after the school says it will not agree to a list of demands from the administration.
And today there is still no sign Harvard will back down. Kaylee Schuyler joining us live from Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Dougie.
On the road from campus.
Kaylee, Harvard is the first university to go head-to-head with the administration.
Good evening, Scott and Dawn. So Harvard's president, Alan Garber, calls the demands illegal and says that the university will not surrender its independence. So now the Trump admin is putting $2.2 billion in multi-year grants and $60 million in multi-year contracts on hold. The Trump administration gave Harvard nearly a dozen demands. They include eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, reporting foreign students on visa who violate codes of conduct, and returning to merit-based hiring and admissions. But Harvard says it shouldn't be taking its orders from D.C. Garber saying in part, quote, no government, regardless of, having some tech issues here, regardless of which party is in power, should dictate what private universities can teach, whom they can admit and hire, and which areas of study and inquiry they can pursue.
Because the government rules are a violation of the First Amendment, and Harvard is going to stand up for the Constitution. Thanks for the question, Doran. Welcome in.
Former Harvard law grad Barack Obama is praising the pushback, and Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey is also supporting Harvard's refusal to comply. But another Harvard alum thinks terminating the funds was the right move.
President Trump correctly made the correct decision to defund these institutions. If you look at what they required for Harvard, it was protection of Jewish students. It is making...
Like, seriously, like, right-wingers like, well, colleges are teaching people to think. That's literally what you're saying. You're punishing colleges for wrong think. And it's because people that go to college, people that get a critical thinking education, a well-rounded liberal arts education, don't fall for Republican nonsense. Doran, what the fuck does that mean, protect Jewish students? Are you talking about the protests against the Israeli occupation of Gaza because the majority of the students protesting were Jewish? And that's why I call right-wingers morons. So yeah, come in here and tell me that the Jewish students protesting against Israel's actions were anti-Semitic.
That we are getting rid of DEI, which by definition is anti-Semitic, and instead Harvard is acting more entitled than ever.
By definition is anti-Semitic.
Things a step further on Truth Social, saying that...
Seriously, idiot right-wingers. Use your brains. Think that out. Like, that statement doesn't make sense. Minty, good evening. It doesn't compute. DEI, by definition, is anti-Semitic. Think about that for 2 seconds. How is that anti-Semitic?
Harvard could lose their tax-exempt status and should be taxed as a political entity. In Cambridge, Massachusetts, Kaylee Schuyler, Fox 32 Chicago.
Yeah, tick bag. The dude telling you to use critical thought is the brainwashed one. My God. Here is ICE breaking the windows of a man who may or may not be here illegally. Who knows at this point?
Well, the video is intense. Federal agents smashing a car window while trying to detain the man who was inside. Now, the couple refused to get out of the car, and that's when those agents moved in. Now that man is being held out of state. And as WBZ's Logan Hall found out, his attorneys say that he is not the man that the agents were looking for.
Shocking video showing the moment ICE agents...
Because he wasn't the man that the agents were looking for. Doran, are you fucking stupid? Seriously, my friend. What if somebody came up with a hammer to try to get you out of your car? Would you just comply?
As WBZ's Logan Hall found out, his attorneys say that he is not the man that the agents were looking for.
Carter Kent.
Shocking video showing the moment ICE agents smashed a car window and forcibly removed...
Always love it. Yes, there's 2 people watching on YouTube because most of the people come over to Twitch. You can see all the comments above me. Think about it, you can see people commenting. Clearly more than 2 people. There's a whole fucking thing going on in the chat right now. But welcome in, friend.
In New Bedford, 29-year-old Juan Francisco Mendez has no criminal record and was awaiting his final documentation to solidify his asylum status. His attorney tells us federal agents took the wrong person, mistaking her client for someone else.
They said they were looking for a certain individual by a different name. And I said, that's not my client. He said, he has prior entries to this country. I said, that's not true. I know my client's history. That is not him. And he said, I'm leaving.
Mendez's wife and 9-year-old son are protected under an asylum status after persecution in their home country of Guatemala. When agents approached Mendez in his car, they were asking for a man by the name of Antonio, someone who used to live in his building. Mendez told them that wasn't him. They demanded he get out of the car. He said he was waiting on his lawyer, and that's when they smashed his window. Community activist Adrian Ventura says he saw it all unfold.
They acted very violently.
Yo estaba al frente.
And I was there when that guy was carrying like axe or a hammer and started to break the windows, and it was like there was an explosion.
By the time Ondine arrived on scene, Mendez was already under arrest. She says it's a terrible misstep by the agents who carried out these actions. And now it's leaving the Mendez family with difficult questions left unanswered.
He said, Mommy, where are you? And don't forget to bring Daddy home. And she asked me, when will he be coming home? And I don't have any answers for her.
She says she has been able to locate Mendez, who's being held at a facility in Dover, New Hampshire. She hasn't been able to receive any charges or a reason for why he's still at the detention center. Now, we've reached out to ICE for more information about this case, but they have not responded with any new details about the arrest or Mendez's detention. For now, reporting in New Bedford, Logan Hall, WBZ News.
All right, Logan, thank you.
Casey, what are you on about? Why are you throwing a fit in the chat? Guys, you're failing an open book test. Those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. We're repeating it. How? This was the easiest thing in the world because leftists made you mad. Like you had to support fascists. Because people like me dunked on you and called you stupid. You have to go cry and support Donald Trump. To own the libs. It's insane. Yeah, why are the right so violent, Doran? I've wondered that for so long. The vast majority of the violence in this country is committed by the right wing. This is according to the ADL. Right-wing extremists are responsible for the vast majority of extremist-related murders over the past decade. 76% attributed to right-wing extremism. Only 3% attributed to left-wing extremism. That's a weird thing to say, Casey, as you're projecting. I'm giving you the numbers right here. Mr. Sprunk, this is according to the ADL. Politically motivated killings is what they're talking about. Total deaths include both ideological and non-ideologically motivated killings. And that's all. It's always what it was. All of you bring up the same fucking thing every goddamn time. It's always BLM, BLM. Well, here's the thing is the vast majority of the violence during the protests in 2020 was committed by right-wing groups. Feds say far-right group coordinated attack on Minneapolis police precinct during protest. Tick, you don't even know what majority means. Trump didn't get a majority of the vote. Majority would be over 50%. Trump got 49-something%. The majority of people didn't vote. I can't with you guys. You don't live in reality. It is infuriating. Tom Homan, a fascist dipshit, got up here and issued a blunt warning to sanctuary sittings.
Yeah, come to the microphone, please, sir. Step right up. There we go. Thank you.
Mr. Homan,
Roosevelt Hotel is not. It's on the table. Leave it there.
Hey, Casey, how in the fuck can I live in a bubble when you're seeing me watch predominantly right-wing media outlets? Watching me go straight to the source. Here's Tom Homan at a press conference. I'm getting ready to play you an 8-minute clip of Chuck Grassley. I play whole fucking congressional hearings. How in the fuck do I live in a bubble? That's what's called a thought-canceling cliche. You have no argument to the things I'm saying. So you got to accuse me of living in a bubble so you can disregard what I'm saying. Seriously, use critical thought, my friend.
I'm certainly not going to forecast when we're going to do an operation on him, McCain.
Thank you, Mr. Homan. You're the immigration expert here. The president is now floating this idea of sending American prisoners to a prison in El Salvador. Do you believe that would be legal?
You know, someone mentioned that to me this morning. I haven't yet talked to the president. I just got back in town yesterday, so I haven't had that conversation, what that conversation was about, where it come from. So I'm not going to comment on that until I speak to the president directly.
But do you know off the top of your head if that's legal? Or what would I mean, you have obviously worked in immigration under President Obama, now under President Trump. Do you believe that it would be legal to send Americans?
I don't know. Again, I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. I said, well, I'll mention this.
And that's all you got. I destroy you. Then you're like, keep crying. Cope, motherfucker, cope.
I don't know the context of the question was. I don't know the context of what response or what he meant by response. I'd be opining on something I really don't have the information on. I'll get briefed on it and I'll respond to you later about it, but I'm just unfamiliar with it.
Mr. Holman, does the administration expect that those migrants that have
Sounds like Holman don't know fucking shit.
will remain there?
You mean the terrorists that were removed?
Will they remain in that prison in El Salvador for the rest of their
Casey, I have never fucking once put on an MSNBC clip that encourages my... Like, we don't watch MSNBC on this fucking show. I played one clip last night and was fucking flabbergasted. So, like, what the fuck are you talking about? You've been here long enough to, and like, you're not making arguments. You look fucking stupid, dude. Like, I appreciate all the gift subs you've thrown out, but you're saying idiots fucking shit. Idiotic fucking shit, my friend. Like, how? How in the fuck? Call the fuck in, Casey. Brother, like, what am I supposed to say? Like, you're saying stupid shit. I'm proving you wrong in real time. You say I live in a bubble as I'm watching the administration speaking directly. You say, like, oh, I just call names and throw on an MSNBC clip. No, I don't. I prove people wrong with facts and then call them fucking morons or dipshits because they are. Right-wingers are indeed morons. Brother, prove me wrong. You've got my YouTube. You've apparently been here watching my show. When have I ever done what you just accused me of? You stupid fuck. Seriously.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
It's insane. Well, you are saying stupid fucking shit, my friend. I've explained it. You're just making baseless accusations. What debate am I losing? Get violent. You're all fucking stupid. Jesus Christ. I don't give a shit if you called anybody a name, Casey. I call dumb fucks when they say dumb fucking shit. Don't come into my chat and say dumb shit and you won't get called a dumb fuck. It's always an appeal to fucking decorum. Every time I call you dipshits out on your fucking nonsense. And then you want to act, okay, you're a Trump supporter and you're going to come in here and say something about me calling people names? Seriously? If you support the guy that calls Sleepy Joe and Cackling Kamala Crooked Hillary, that's his entire thing, is to call people names. Here's what I am. I give it back to the right wing exactly the way they do everybody else, and you guys can't deal with that. You don't like it when people turn the tables on you and treat you the way you treat others. Even Rush Limbaugh, right before he died, knew you guys were going off the fucking deep end.
As a conservative, it's getting harder and harder to not look like a kook.
Buddy, what does getting triggered mean? You're clearly triggered by me. You're triggered by me doing a fucking show that educates people. You're coming in here crying about me, making up bullshit. Like, if you're going to come at me, fucking have the balls to come at me. Call in, get in the Discord, prove me fucking wrong. Don't run your cocksucker in my chat. I will stand toe-to-toe with fucking anybody. Mr. Sprunk, you come here because I do a goddamn good show. I don't even fucking what left takes. I don't even give takes. I'm just fucking playing the news for you. I do a good job of curating it. I'm not on the back foot, Bagheera. So you guys got nothing to say now? Like, nobody wants to call in, actually have a chat or a discussion with me? Or is it because you're afraid I'll make you look stupid? Because I will. Yeah, the show is called The Troll Patrol. Come on, Casey, let me know. Seriously. Why won't you call in? Why won't you actually have a discussion with me? Why do you just want to make baseless accusations? I live in a fucking bubble. You've been here enough to know that's not fucking true. You know it. War Machine. The Beanie. Give me 1 second. You fucking know it, dude. So why would you say that? Like, seriously. Like, you got nothing else. You say some of the dumbest shit in chat, man, to try to like deflect from what's actually going on. I'm not the one that banned the use of the word "your." That was not a me thing. Krell, I tell you good evening. It's beanie time. And let me tell you, you right-wingers in this chat, they're coming for you. They aren't stopping with who you think is in a gang or is a terrorist. They're gonna come for you as soon as you say something they don't like. That's why you gotta stick up for other people, because we have to band together to stop the fascism that's taking over the country. Here's Trump saying he's gonna do it.
Great guy. Could we use it for violent criminals, our own violent criminals?
I call them homegrown criminals.
Yes.
I mean, the
homegrowns.
The ones that grew up and something went wrong and they hit people over the head with a baseball bat. We have, and push people into subways just before the train gets there, like you see happening sometimes. We are looking into it and we want to do it. I would love to do that.
Or set.
So, yep. Already priming the pump is what it's called. They're gonna deport citizens. And as we saw, 90% of the first flights to El Salvador did not have any criminals on it. People that have been accused of no crime. Gonna happen to you.
President Trump is simultaneously boasting a drop in border crossings and expanding the military's presence at the southern border, saying the complexity of the situation calls for it. And as El Salvador is taking in hundreds of Venezuelan prisoners for the U.S., the president's now looking at the possibility of taking American citizens who are criminals and sending them to prisons in Central America.
He would only consider this, if legal, for Americans who are the most violent, egregious, repeat offenders of crime who nobody in this room wants living in their communities.
Meanwhile, the White House is making it clear it has no problem with leaving Kilmar Abrego Garcia of Maryland, whose deportation was called an administrative error by the Justice Department, in that infamous gang prison in El Salvador known for its high death rate and human rights abuses. Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen says if he's not released this week, he'll go to El Salvador. Other Democratic lawmakers say they'll join him.
We should care about this case because
of
due process. Every American citizen is due their due process, and people who are in the United States under legal protective status, like Abrego Garcia was, are entitled to due process.
Also on Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says a new presidential memorandum will go after fraud at the Social Security Administration.
The memorandum will direct the administration to ensure ineligible aliens are not receiving funds from the Social Security Act program.
It is a fucking shame, DJ Dub.
It should be only for eligible taxpayers.
It's already against the law for people who are ineligible to receive funds, and many questions have been raised about Elon Musk and Doge's claims of fraud at the Social Security Administration. At the White House, I'm Atra El-Nashar.
Remember the Signal Gate? Where that feels like forever ago now. It was only a few weeks ago. A top Pete Hegseth advisor, Dan Caldwell, apparently escorted out of the Pentagon, has been placed on leave after he's implicated in a leak probe. Wait, what? This was a top advisor to Pete Hegseth? Is he like 19? Dan Caldwell, a key advisor to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, was escorted out of the Pentagon on Tuesday after being implicated during a leak investigation. Caldwell was put on administrative leave for an unauthorized disclosure. Pentagon spokesperson confirmed to the Post that Caldwell had been removed from his post. Seriously, how old is he? It's unclear what material Caldwell, a senior advisor in the Office of the Secretary of Defense, is accused of leaking, and to whom. Caldwell's removal comes less than a month after Hegseth's Chief of Staff Joe Casper ordered the Director for Defense Intelligence, Counterintelligence, Law Enforcement, and Security to assist in a probe into unauthorized disclosures of sensitive and classified information across the Department of Defense. Recent unauthorized disclosures of national security information involving sensitive communications with principals within the Office of the Secretary of Defense demand immediate and thorough investigation, Casper wrote in a March 21st memo. The directive noted that polygraph tests could be administered in accordance with applicable law and policy as part of the hunt for the leaguer. It's unclear whether Caldwell was subjected to a polygraph test, which polygraph tests are not accurate in any way. Math is hard.
33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning.
Maybe they mean senior in high school instead of senior official. Like, seriously. We never got a age on him, did we? Can't be over 30, right? Can't be. Yeah, Flash, do you have some calipers? Usually people having calipers would be a red flag, but if Flash has them, okay, are you guys ready for this? He's already speaking, the song's still going.
We deserve help and paid for most of it. You know, my great friend, he is a great friend, Governor O'Malley. He My dad, the Biden family, started off in Baltimore. They don't say Baltimore, it's Baltimore. In Baltimore. And, but we've been friends for a long time.
Oh, no, don't leave us. It is, this was Biden's first.
Whether it's an athletic team, whether you're in a battle.
I apparently can't play any liberals. It runs people off from the chat.
The guy has guts. No, I mean this sincerely. He not only has political courage, he has physical courage. He's across the board. If ever want anybody standing next to me, I want O'Malley there with me.
I don't think that was coming.
It really matters.
I'd not heard that song, and yes, what I've seen of this is weird.
You know, I always kid Maryland because Delaware, the second smallest state, we share the eastern shore of Maryland with Maryland. But we're close friends. And folks, you know, it's no surprise that he did a hell of a job when I asked him to be commissioner of the Social Security. And the reason I did that, it was not an ordinary transition for a governor. But I knew, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I knew we needed someone with some guts, some toughness, who'd fight for every single...
I'm not going to be able to make the 10 minutes on the no profanity. I'm not going to be able to make it 10 minutes into Biden's speech, that's for sure.
And to everyone here today, I want to thank you, all of you, very much for this award. It means a great deal to me coming from you. And I mean that sincerely. It means a great deal. You're in the front lines every single day. You're helping, you're advocating for your fellow Americans, Americans with disability. It's a big deal. We talk about what happened in the physical...
I felt like his first speech was something I needed to cover. At least in passing. Now let's get to the real, like, juicy stuff. Well, you got a preference on cat? I got a Smokey here handy. He's right here. Now from one old guy to another, but this old guy apparently gets confronted with protesters.
Yes, I believe very strongly in my Christian faith. I preach on Sundays, and I believe very strongly in we welcome the stranger. Because anyway.
Yeah, all you Christians, if only there was a book that told you specifically how to treat people who are foreigners in your country. Like it's some kind of a guide to live by, perhaps.
The least of these we do to Jesus. And that is what we've been taught. And that is what the gospel tells us. And I think turning away people who have come here for asylum is one of the most shameful things we are doing right now. Yep. I just want to know, for you as a senator, as my elected senator, is there anything you can do so that we can follow international law better, or just the ideals of our country? To be a place of hope for others.
By the way, Chuck Grassley's like 80-something.
When they are searching for a home because they have no place else to go.
Take down the Statue of Liberty.
Everything that we can do legally under our laws, we can.
I'm sorry, 90-something.
We welcome refugees. That's legal status.
Senator Grassley, we're not right
just a minute until it's quiet so I can hear you.
So, Senator Grassley, right now we're not. I mean, right now we're not. These changes have been taking place, and that's what concerns me so much. It hurts.
No due process.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with laws.
I would welcome refugees, and I would welcome people that need asylum.
Are you going to bring that guy back from El Salvador? Yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, because that's not a power of Congress.
The Supreme Court says to bring him back.
You can put pressure on him.
He's defined the
You're on the
Constitution.
Judiciary Committee.
You're on the Judiciary Committee, exactly.
If I get an order to pay a ticket for $1,200 and I just say no, does that stand up? Because he's got an order from the Supreme Court and he's just said no.
Yeah. He just said, screw it.
I'll be able to answer your question.
You ignored my letter.
Guatemala,
Mine too.
or El Salvador is an independent country. The president
Speak
of
up,
that,
please. We can't hear you.
the president of that country is not subject to our U.S. Supreme Court.
I'm pissed.
We're paying him to,
I'm pissed.
we don't have to pay him.
Why are we paying them the houses don't have control? The next subject here.
Excuse me, Senator. Senator, excuse me, on that same subject.
Hey!
Excuse me, Senator Grassley, on that same subject. The Constitution, the framers of the Constitution said that every person, not citizen, every person within the jurisdiction of the United States has due process. That has been violated. And we would like to know what you, as the people, the Congress, who are supposed to rein in this dictator, what are you going to do about it? These people have been sentenced to life imprisonment in a foreign country with no due process. Our government cannot do anything. Why won't you do your job, Senator?
Get it swine!
Obey the Supreme Court. Trump's not.
Stephen King is right.
He just ignored.
Leftists are defending the Constitution.
Be okay with that. Allowing it to happen.
Let the senator answer.
What is a constitutional crisis? What does that consist of? A constitutional crisis exists when you have a president who ignores the Supreme Court. You have a Congress who fails to rein in a third branch of our government.
That's right.
Who is now violating our Constitution. You took an oath. I do solemnly swear or affirm. Do you remember that, sir? Yes, sir. That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of office of which I am about to enter, so help me God. Sir, will you act upon your oath?
Yeah, I thought that I was, when I answered, I'll wait till the clapping's done. I thought when I answered this guy's question, I was doing what the Constitution requires. I'm trying to recapture the constitutional authority of Article 1, Section 8, one of the 18 powers of Congress, to regulate interstate and foreign commerce by introducing the bill, which is a bipartisan bill, to make some of the mistakes that Democratic Congresses made in 1963. That's
Congress as a whole.
That's what I'm doing.
Congress as a whole,
Yeah.
bipartisan, has the power to act, to bring
Can you wait till they shut? Be quiet.
Congress as a whole, bipartisan, has the power to act to bring the executive branch to heel.
Yes.
Yes.
Now,
And they're not doing
introducing a bill, yes, that's one thing. But as a whole, the power of Congress to bring that executive branch to heel when they are behaving the way we're seeing, that power exists within you and your other members of Congress. Do you speak to your other persons in the House of Representatives of your party? Do you communicate with them often? Do you discuss any of this with them? Do you hold any concern that Congress will be the next branch that Trump comes for because he is coming for the judicial?
Joey, good evening. He's already neutered Congress.
The only tool that you know the Constitution gives Congress.
But I mean, it's not all on Trump. Like, presidents going back to Nixon have neutered Congress. So
to do in regard to disciplining the executive branch's impeachment.
And you missed that opportunity in his first administration. You had 2 opportunities for that. That was probably one of the only reasons we're having this situation now.
Man, if the Republicans had just impeached the motherfucker, voted to convict him the first time.
The House initiates impeachment.
Yeah.
Brother, nobody's censoring you. You're getting auto-modded.
I said that the way I conducted the meeting in Hampton, I was chastised.
Oh, okay.
Because I didn't allow anything other than people to
All right,
complain
fair
about
enough.
Trump. So I'm going to go through this list and then we'll go back.
So this was going on as we were coming on. I do not know. I'm pretty sure it's not on anymore. This was in Cobb County, Georgia. That's where the Big Boss Man's from.
You, the American people, that has been committed against you by our government. And this is not anything to protest against. This isn't anything to be angry about. But stopping your money from being stolen by criminals all around the world, think about this, dead people's social security numbers being used
She's coming out hot.
to get your money. This is something that we should all fight against. And I think it's extremely important. I'm proud to say that as chair of the Doge Committee. Now, let's talk about how this has affected our economy. Kayla, you can pull the next slide. So just recently, you were told that President Trump is crashing the market with tariffs. That is absolutely not true. The media and the
Okay, so this was her feed. Let me show you what happened right before this that you did not see on her feed when that little hold screen was up. This is right before what we just watched.
Everybody's really excited. I enjoyed all of it. I feel blessed to have y'all in the district. Good. God bless you. Thank you. Can I take this off? Oh, this is wired. Okay. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
They tasered him.
Put your head behind you. Put your hand.
What the fuck?
Put your hand behind your back. Do it now.
For what? Not sharing your opinion? Is that why he deserved it?
How do we get out of here? Get me out of here. Straight out. I can't be around this. That's why get me out of here. Get me out of here. He just got shot. Get me out of here. He just got shot. Are you? Can I call someone for you? You need to know you can. Well, they may even be here. But you need to don't get hurt. Stop resisting. Your glass is go back. Is that where you go out? Come out back.
I'm sure Tick has screamed about free speech.
Thank you to our great police officers. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my town hall. This is a town hall. This is not a political rally. This is not a protest. If you stand up and want to protest, if you want to shout and chant, we will have you removed just like that man was thrown out. We will not tolerate it. This is, let me tell you, this is funded. The Democrats have been rioting. They are the party of violence. They are the party that...
Get out. Go. 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 If you want to sit and listen, you're welcome to listen.
Everyone across the aisle, Democrats, independents...
That protest is 100% covered in the Constitution.
To learn.
Taser, taser, taser. 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 Stop. Move. Walk outside. No, sure. Put your hands on. Hey, man. Hands up. Hands behind your back. Now. Get your hands. So, stop.
This is a peaceful town hall. Now, this is a peaceful town hall.
It was peaceful until the cops started assaulting people.
And I want to talk about what else I think is absolutely pathetic. Is the media trying to defend an illegal alien that is a member of MS-13 that was...
Here legally, it was not MS-13. What is disgusting is this fucking fascist lying.
With our American media that they aren't defending Americans. That's the only people they should be defending. Before I wrap up, I want to talk about what happened in the past 4 years under the Biden administration that should have never happened. The government was weaponized against the American people.
Wow! Wow! The government was weaponized against the American people, she says, as she's having people tasered. A person from the government having members of the public who are trying to express their First Amendment right tasered in front of her. The goddamn nerve.
And after January 6th, many people were arrested. Now, I want you to know, serving in Congress, I have not watched the pro-Hamas, pro-Palestinian, pro-Gaza protesters. I have not watched them be prosecuted like the DOJ went after January 6th protesters. So I want...
Because they didn't attack our democracy. They didn't attack our capital. The Palestinian protesters were doing forms of civil disobedience.
I want to thank President Trump. I want to thank President Trump for what he did for January 6th defendants. Kayla, you can go ahead and pull that up.
Just disgusting.
The J6 pardons were answered in prayers. And the pro-life...
Tick, Casey, you don't feel insulted by that? She is literally telling you black is white, up is down. Telling you that Biden weaponized the government against the American people while she's having people tasered for expressing their First Amendment. You don't feel insulted. That doesn't insult your intelligence. Or are you really that fucking stupid? Come on, Casey. Answer it. I would feel insulted that she thought that little of me.
Lifers too. Biden's DOJ went after people that peacefully protested abortions. FBI, ATF, Border Patrol, ICE, and many local law enforcement, all the way from city, county, and states, all across the country are working together to track down illegal alien criminals, cartels, and terrorists that are not just living at the border. Ladies and gentlemen, they're all inside the interior of the United States. All inside the interior.
Yeah, what about the KKK? They're in Georgia.
Of the United States. You can head out. The protest is outside. Thank you very much. Protest is outside.
We've seen at least 2 people tasered.
Protest is outside. Bye. Have is doing a great job. They have an area for protest
And you people cheer it on. You cheer on fascism. It's insane. Yes, we love it. Stick the boot further down our throat.
Other elected officials are spewing that endanger the lives of innocent people. Rep. Crockett is one example. Those inciting the vandalism and domestic terrorism against Tesla and Tesla owners are another example. Kathleen, thank you for that question. And I first want to start with recognizing Governor Shapiro and his family and say that I truly pray for them. And it was shocking to see that attack of arson on the governor's mansion. And I completely denounce that type of political violence. I denounce all political violence.
No, you don't.
Now, I can tell you that because I also live in a place where I am one of the...
Jail for insider traders.
Usually has the highest...
By the way, we're going to talk about that here in a second. We're going to talk about insider trading and Marjorie Taylor Greene here in just 1 second.
Amount of death threats. As a matter of fact, you know, I've yet to see a fascist gathering. That doesn't exist in the Republican Party. As a matter of fact, Trump is the most transparent president in history. The man press every single day. It's amazing. Not only that, he takes them on Air Force One and takes them to UFC fights. He talks to them and gaggles on the plane. He talks to them all the time. This is such an amazing thing that happened. You know, well, the Associated Press shouldn't have told as many lies as they did about President.
What?
And President Trump has been lied about by Democrats, has been lied about by the press. I mean, Russia collusion, come on. I haven't seen the press apologize for that. And many people, unfortunately, are still brainwashed on those lies. You know, well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you again for coming out tonight. And I want to thank you for your support. And I also am so excited. Thank you to the city of Ackworth. I'm thrilled to have this part in my district. We've had great meetings today and look forward to working with everyone. And
people shaking their head as they're leaving.
One thing about Georgia 14. Georgia 14 is not going to be intimidated by funded Democrat protests and by people that came in that aren't from our district.
Yeah. Everybody that's there from the district, come on.
That's an illegal alien. So you can see Democrats support. They support illegal aliens. Thank you.
One of the protesters mentioned insider trading. We should jail insider traders. I agree. Marjorie Taylor Greene faces scrutiny over stock trades before her town hall. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, a staunch ally of former President Donald Trump and a vocal supporter of his trade policies, is under fire after disclosing stock trades made shortly before Trump announced a 90-day pause on tariffs. She's one of those people that bought 10 minutes before stocks went up. According to financial disclosure reports and USA Today, Greene purchased between $21,000 and $315,000 worth of stocks in major tech and logistics companies, including Apple, Adobe, NVIDIA, Palantir, and Cummins on April 9th. The previous day, she bought an additional $11,000 to $165,000 in shares of companies such as Amazon, FedEx, JP Morgan Chase, Lululemon, Nike, Qualcomm, and Tesla. She also sold between $50,000 and $100,000 in U.S. Treasury bills. I invest in Cummins every night. The trades occurred just before Trump posted on Truth Social that it was a great time to buy, a message that came less than 4 hours before the White House announced the tariff pause. This sequence of events has sparked accusations from Democrats who suggest Trump engaged in insider trading and that Green may have benefited from advanced knowledge of policy changes. The White House defended the Truth Social post, stating it was meant to reassure the markets and Americans about their economic security. In response to the controversy, Green told the Associated Press that she does not manage her own portfolio and that her investments are handled by a financial advisor. I'm sure that's true. And I'm sure Green called her financial advisor and said, hey. She emphasized that all trades are disclosed in compliance with federal transparency requirements. Under current law, members of Congress have up to 45 days to report stock transactions, raising the possibility that other lawmakers may have also made similar trades that are not yet public. Meanwhile, while people like Marjorie Taylor Greene are enriching themselves, the true politicians that are out here working for the American people are scaring the shit out of Elon, Trump, and the rest of the Republican Party.
When Donald Trump looks out at this crowd and they pay attention to this stuff, and Elon Musk does, you are scaring the hell out of them.
It's just amazing. They talk about Bernie Sanders gets 3,000 people.
He lied. There are people a half a mile away.
Elon is so desperate to try and discredit this grassroots movement.
And instead of facing the reality that working class people are fed up with billionaires like him, Musk decides to claim the crowd was full of paid protesters.
Anybody here get paid to come today? So I invite the president to come to LA. Tell the people here why you think it's a good idea to cut Medicaid and nutrition and health care so you can give tax breaks to billionaires. The people of LA would love to hear that. Musk and his friends see you as nothing more than workers to be disposed of. They got rid of tens of thousands of federal workers. They don't give a damn about you. And what we have got to do is say, sorry, we are human beings. Because they know what you know and what I know, is that they are the 1%, we are the 99%. They own Congress, they own the White House, but they don't own us. Now, I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be easy. It's not. We're going to have to fight them door to door, workplace to workplace, school to school. We're going to have to educate. We're going to have to mobilize. We're going to have to stand up in a dozen different ways. But from the bottom of my heart, and I've been to every state of this country, I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent. The people of this country do not want oligarchy. They do not want authoritarianism. And they want a government that works for all of us, not just the 1%.
Right-wingers are trying to mock Joan Baez. Like, how can you do that? What is wrong with you? Now, apparently something happened at his rally last night in Idaho. We weren't watching during this time. You'll notice a flag behind Bernie.
Tell you just a little bit.
I saw some scumbag leftists
that you're not going to see on corporate media,
bitching about this, but I don't know exactly what happened, so let's watch it together.
And that right now in America, we have two Americas. We have on top one America in which the wealthiest people, the top 1%.
Does he know?
Never.
Because yeah, that was what all the scumbag leftists that hate Bernie were saying. Does Bernie know what's going on? I don't it's behind him. I didn't know it was behind him. But surely if there's a ruckus going on, he knows what's going on. We'll see. I mean, people are booing. Yeah, he is making being made aware of it.
Okay, in America today, we have more income. In America today,
I'm surprised he didn't say anything about Palestine. He's really wanting to stay on message. I mean, the people are making it known. I mean, like, he may not even realize exactly what's going on. Not to make excuses, because the crowd is letting him know.
Okay. All right, let me move on to, I know that this is a sensitive issue, something I am helping leading the effort in Congress. But I do want to say, hold it. What we have also got to focus on is the crisis facing not only the people in Gaza, but the crisis facing the working class of this country.
Huh. I would have hoped for a little more. But yeah, he is totally on point. Like, he is not wanting to be derailed. And Flash, like, you are right. He probably missed a really good opportunity right there. For a great soundbite, for a great campaign, and he might realize that. Once again, not to make excuses for him, I don't know that he knew exactly what was going on, but the crowd is definitely letting him know their displeasure, and he did not capitalize on that. So I hope if an incident like that happens again. I don't know if he saw the cop with the flag, right? I don't know I don't know that he could see cops. He might not have been able to see what was going on over the railing. But as I said, the crowd is definitely letting him know. And he didn't, 50 state, I don't know about 50 state landslide. And Bernie's probably never going to come out and say ACAB. But here's a woman that said ACAB. She helped us make a good cop. And I am rooting her on in her trial. Karen Reed, jury seated. Opening statements have now been scheduled.
Breaking news in the Karen Reed case. After screening hundreds of people, there is a full jury. 9 women, 9 men. Opening statements will take place a week from today. As WBZ's Christina Rex report, Reed says she's happy with the people who will decide the facts.
We're loaded for bear, ready to get the show on the road.
After 10 long days, jury selection for Karen Reed's retrial is finally complete, with 18 jurors seated for trial.
Very pleased, absolutely. Yep, and I believe they're truthful and they were questioned thoroughly. So I have confidence in.
Not anything cool though, is it, Joey?
Jury selection, which took 10 days,
which you won't really know,
as long as the first trial. 591 people came through for questioning. 88% of them already knew of this case, and ultimately a jury of 18 people was picked, 9 men, 9 women. Opening statements are scheduled for Tuesday, April 22nd. In last year's first trial, they started on April 29th.
I would expect that we probably will be on a similar timeline to the first trial. That got us to the end of June in terms of testimony, and then obviously deliberations lasted about a week into early July. So Unfortunately, I think we might be on the same schedule, Christina.
Also, new information Tuesday, prosecutor Hank Brennan plans to play video clips like this one.
I thought, could I have run him over?
Clips of Karen Reed's media interviews as a part of the state's opening statement.
How do you feel about...
Yeah, she has talked to the media a lot, and that might harm her case.
Use your interviews in his opening statement.
Come at me.
I asked Reed's dad that same question yesterday.
Come at me. I may have seen it. I would not have said anything that I wouldn't say again.
So there will be court on Wednesday at 10 a.m. This is a motions hearing to really wrap up any logistical or legal issues in this case. Then there will be no court until Tuesday, April 22nd.
Yeah, you should always shut the fuck up.
And then testimony and evidence begins. In Dedham, Christina.
She feeling cocky because she got the mistrial the first time. I wouldn't be so cocky, ma'am. Like, I'm rooting you on. I want to see you win. Don't get cocky. Please don't get cocky. This also happening at a Massachusetts courthouse today. This was at the trial courts in Boston. This is apparently the raw video. A man in a gas mask came in with pepper spray. What in the... Was he trying to pepper spray somebody in specific? They caught him right at the door. Let's go back. You see him walking up the stairs. Yeah, she's like going out. Yeah, this is a courthouse. She's like going out the door. And she sees him. She tries to stop him from getting in. So, wow, this happened earlier today. He has a gas mask on. Like, people just sitting there, like, stunned. That's a very good question, but he didn't really get very far. Okay, yeah, that shows him getting tackled. Well, I mean, the first cop should have, like, took him down, but she had no idea what was going on. He gets past her. I don't know. Was that just a bystander? I think it was a cop, wasn't it? No, it was. No, it could have been a plainclothes cop. It could have been like a state trooper or something with that kind of fleece on. Like, there to testify. Yeah, look at him. He's got fucking bat belt there. Oh, dude's still pepper spraying. Did you see that? Yeah, dude in the fleece is totally a cop. He's got handcuffs and everything. He's probably state trooper that was just there to testify in a case. So somewhat of a bystander. He wasn't one of the, because you got like bailiffs in a courthouse. That was like the sheriff's department. He could be a marshal. Could be a detective. If he's on duty, yeah. They always got the bat belt. Always be copping. They took him down quickly. As I said, this happened earlier today. I don't know that we have update on who the man was or what his motivations might have been. I'll try to give you a follow-up tomorrow. Here's a follow-up from something from last week. Do you guys remember the wild, it was a hit and run into a short police chase? It ended with suspects in a neighborhood. One stripped down to his boxers and started watering plants. And then the wife of Weezer's bassist came out and she got shot by the cops. And then she ran back into the house. And she's being charged with attempted murder even though the cops shot her. We have video of the hit and run crash that set off that wild course of events.
An Eyewitness News exclusive. New video capturing the chaotic moments. A hit and run crash sets off a wild chain of events leading to the arrest of a man in his boxers and a rock star's wife facing attempted murder charges. Eyewitness News reporter Leanne Suter live with
I shouldn't laugh.
Chaos that exploded after that sudden impact. Leanne.
Mark, it happened so fast, there wasn't any time for David Gonzalez to even react. He was on his way to work right here on the 134 on Tuesday when the chaos kicked off with that sudden and violent crash.
In an instant, a sudden crash and a suspect on the run, clutching his clothes and a guitar.
I thought I was in an episode of GTA. Honestly, that stuff just doesn't happen, you know? I haven't been in an accident for almost a decade, and all of a sudden this guy grabs the guitars and just dips out. I'm like, where's... like, it's unreal, honestly. It's unreal.
David Gonzalez was behind the wheel of his brand new Tesla last Tuesday when the would-be hit-and-run driver lost control of his car on the eastbound 134 and took out several other vehicles.
All of a sudden, you know, in a flash of a second, this guy just comes and hits an HRV, and the HRV hits on the left. There's no way to go, and then next thing you know, there's a 3-4 car collision happening.
That was just the beginning of the chaos as police swarmed an Eagle Rock neighborhood on the hunt for the wanted driver. The situation taking a strange and violent turn.
Orb.
The wife of Weezer's bassist, Jillian Schreiner, was shot by the LAPD after she allegedly pointed a gun at officers and fired.
I like that she is famous in her own right for being like a nutty TED Talk kind of woo woman. Well, like the frame of reference is she's the wife of Weezer's bassist because everybody knows who Weezer is. Oh my God, Jim Cornette was talking about this on his podcast, and his co-host is trying to explain to him who Weezer is. And he's like, well, can you sing a little bit of a song of mine now? And Brian's like, I'm not singing. Ooh wee oo, we look just like Buddy Holly. It was so fucking funny. That's the song he picked. And then he's like, the sweater song. And Jim's like, I have no idea.
51-year-old taken into custody and then taken to the hospital, now facing a charge of attempted murder. That wanted suspect spotted in his boxers trying to blend in by watering the lawn of a home. He too was taken into custody and cited and released for misdemeanor hit and run. Gonzalez, who injured his back and broke his arm and has to have surgery, had no idea of the dramatic drama following that sudden and damaging crash.
A ripple effect, you know? At the moment, I had no clue what happened after, but it's crazy how just one man can cause so much chaos, right?
Gonzalez says he is grateful he wasn't critically injured in that crash. As for his Tesla, his brand new Tesla, he had it about 2 weeks.
I think I fucked the words up too.
That was a total loss. Reporting live, Leanne Suter, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, thank you, Leanne. Hello, I'm Mark.
Hey, Mark Brown.
Great ABC 7 content by clicking.
Appreciate the job you do, my friend. My favorite
the ABC 7
news anchor in the country.
Fire TV, Android TV.
Well, since we're talking about police chases in California, you guys want to do a police chase?
Here right now, a developing story, a following as police are behind what I believe is a vehicle there in Southern California. Not exactly what's going on with this, but you can see there following directly overhead, this one riding one of those lines in between it, trying to weave in and out of traffic. Some damage.
We've already got damage.
Fender of this vehicle. I believe I did see some lights and sirens behind them. There in Southern California, San Bernardino, if you're familiar there with this.
Does feel like an AI holiday.
Northbound, weaving in and out of traffic. Viewer discretion is advised, as it's just past noon on the West Coast, going under some of these overpasses right now. As you can see, some of the damage on the front right.
Did you say it was about noon? That seems right.
Slam on the brakes to avoid hitting.
I feel like I saw it about 4 or 5, so.
Just innocent bystanders, unaware of what's going on, a car in front of them.
AI would sound more natural.
Getting out of the way, not sure what's going on. As this silver sedan driving dangerously. We don't know if we can call this necessarily a pursuit or a following, but you can see the helicopter Skyfox.
I'm low on weed, Torgy.
Monitoring this.
I'm curious who's going to take me in the morning.
The shoulder right now of this highway there.
That's a tight squeeze.
On Santa Monica Freeway. So
I got maybe a bowl for after the stream.
Into some of the gravel area there. Looks like all of the tires are still intact, as that person was just changing a flat tire. And police might hope that this person gets a flat tire in terms of one of those spike strips soon.
Under a pound, clinically says.
You're on live now from Fox, monitoring stories that happen.
Holiday. I'd love to come over and hang out with you sometime.
In the Santa Monica area, our Fox.
I'd love to hang out with Malloy. We are going to get together. We're going to have like a hotel orgy.
Of course, our Fox 11.
We'll have a freaking get together.
Here momentarily as they have.
We'll test out the orgy couch.
Locations, good idea of what these locations are. You can see Venice Boulevard there at this fork in the road.
Smoke weed, get off.
For police to
you live in sexual anarchy.
When there's just so many different interchanges, different highways.
Well, we can have different levels.
On air, let's take.
Bonnie Monkey will be in chat.
Team as they dive into this coverage of this potential pursuit in Southern California.
Above it, still making calls. The car just.
Oh, here we go. Yes, thank you, Chris Christie.
Picking up Pico right now. So now we're going to be heading westbound on Pico Boulevard. There was some moments on that 110 freeway where we're keeping an eye on it. High speeds, probably touching about 90, maybe 80 miles an hour.
Lenny's a sexy man.
Numbers. You have to remember.
Who says I don't want him involved?
This vehicle making its own lane the entire time, doing it once again. Now going into oncoming traffic. There was a pedestrian in the road, in that walkway, clear from that vehicle. But running red lights, and it basically, as you're seeing it right now, just take the opportunity to get through or by somebody as they're continuing on. Now, Baroxia, I'm sure you guys, people at home, I'm sure we all see it. Some damage on that front of that vehicle. Not sure if that's from the pursuit or before the pursuit, but definitely this car has some damage on the front end. But that driver continues.
Purple punch out.
Extremely reckless, wrong side of the road, high speeds, putting a lot of the public in danger.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously breaking all kinds of rules and laws along
along the way.
Bringing the law, bringing the law.
His or her own lane. What else do we know about the vehicle, aside from the fact we do see that front end damage? We're uncertain when that happened. The vehicle, as far as being stolen.
Yeah, it already had the damage when we joined it in progress,
We
but
don't know how many people are inside of that.
pretty sure they have sustained.
No, I haven't heard anything.
Well, Flash, they're probably like us,
You know it's a Ford.
Usually you're not wrong to guess male, but here lately we've had several female drivers.
Type of vehicle to keep an eye on. But this one, I can tell you, moving along very, very quickly out here.
I used to assume that it was always a penis haver.
Yeah, just think Adams.
But then we've seen a lot of women run from the cops in the last year.
Slowing down a little bit. Looks like we're making a turn. Now, this is actually maybe a good thing. Maybe they're making their way back over to the 10 freeway northbound on Vermont. We're going to be heading into Koreatown if he keeps up this direction. And I venture to say we're going to start seeing some traffic out there.
Fuck yeah, Byronic.
That I was talking about actually went right by the police station. That was
goddamn penis havers.
I was kind of curious. I'm like, isn't there a police station right there? Isn't that Olympic? Anyways, just went right by it. The sheriff's overhead. There was a black and white out there. They are keeping an eye on it. But this is one of those things. They have to kind of be invited to the dance. And then on top of that, their bosses have.
I feel like there was a song called Detachable Penis back in the day.
Engage into this pursuit.
Maybe the 90s. Was it Butthole Surfers?
A tracking mode, the sheriff's department, their helicopter clearly above it. We're clearly above it as well. So they're, they have an eye on it, and they know where this vehicle is. Now, I've said it in the past, when these things come to an end, hopefully
King Missile.
We'll see some magical...
I don't even recognize the name of that band.
That bite.
Whoa.
Not too happy about that. Yeah, I would have been a little grumpy about that too. And of course, every time we go through these intersections, I'm always looking for pedestrians. It looks like this is a
I know the song, my lord, but don't know any words to it. Na 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 na.
I kind of wonder if he knows where maybe he can park the car, get out and run. But
something coming down the mountain
doesn't mean this is coming to an end. Tighter roads means that this is.
I've heard it a million times. Don't know a single word of the song.
I am going to lose him, and especially if he makes a turn on one of the major streets out here.
We often talk about that with pursuits. We see some of these suspects, if they have the opportunity, going to areas or neighborhoods they're familiar with. Obviously, at this point, it's speculation if that's what's going on.
See, when you spell it that way, I feel like, yeah, that's Jane's addiction. That's coming down the mountain.
For those who don't watch frequently, we cover so many pursuits, but often we will use the phrase tracking mode, and they're going to track the vehicle.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the song sounded like. I'm going to have to listen to it here in a little bit.
Well, tracking mode is basically all the ground units. It looks like we're coming to a stop. It looks like he picked an area right now. I don't know what this is all about. And out and running. It looks like right into an apartment building, which is good or bad. Now, LAPD, hopefully they are nearby. I know the sheriff's department, their helicopter definitely was overhead, just kind of left the vehicle there. I'm going to keep an eye on that courtyard.
Not a good parking job.
Really can take a peek at. I'm going to look at that front entrance way as well, but definitely looks like he ran into this apartment building out here, clearly on New Hampshire Avenue.
Going to get his penis. He left his penis at home.
Address, but right now, law enforcement not here. That suspect basically ran into 425 New Hampshire.
420.
I don't know if this is a location that he knows somebody. If that vehicle is registered to him, I can almost guarantee you law enforcement's going to be knocking on his door eventually. But right now, car sitting out on the roadway. Suspect ran into the apartment building.
I might still have some left in the bong, actually.
911 calls, and there is the sheriff's helicopter. And Araxia, to answer the question that you asked so long ago, tracking mode is where they basically discontinue the vehicles on the ground, and they just let the helicopter track it. It has worked in the past, especially when there's reckless driving. They'll basically start driving a little bit more calm. In this case, we didn't see anything like that. That vehicle continued to make those fast moves out there and drove very reckless. But right now, though, that suspect inside one of these apartment buildings, 420.
Yeah, that bong from last night was
I shouldn't have followed the
some
helicopter,
gunk with some teeth on top.
Is now over.
Well, you know, with tracking mode, they do that because they don't want to endanger the public. As you said, sometimes you have a busy area, there's pedestrians around, or
well, you know what I say to that, my lord? Live is a highway,
so
and
they
I
do
want to
that
ride
in
it.
order to not escalate the situation. In this case, though, because they were in tracking,
One helicopter is the news station, the other helicopter is the cops.
somewhat get a head start in their
The LAPD.
So as we can see, that car down
Airship.
below, that was the suspect's vehicle, and it appears as though he was the only person in that vehicle. And at this time, it looks like officers have arrived. You see deputies.
No, I love that song.
And they're going into that park.
Not like what is it, Rascal Flatts or something does a country version of it.
An area they're familiar with. Who knows?
I don't remember who it was that did the original. Right Said Fred or something.
I seem to agree with that. Is that
it was not Right Said Fred.
Garage door. I thought
that was I'm too sexy for my shirt. And they're like Nazis or some shit.
I'm thinking the other way too. I don't think he went into the underground parking. I'm not 100% on that. I can tell you though, California Highway Patrol now here on scene, and they are going to be making that effort to take that suspect into custody. They definitely have the vehicle. There is no doubt about that. We haven't heard anything about it being stolen. So
somebody with the last name. No, it wasn't Tom Cochran.
Have to make some kind of.
It wasn't Johnny Cocker.
Back up. That might be the time they.
Oh, it's Tom Cochran,
the driver of that car.
Life is a highway.
So that makes me think that this whatever that criminal threat was a very was a crime that they really wanted to take this person into custody.
I was thinking Joe Cocker.
Lately, we've seen.
I was like, it's not Joe Cocker.
Now, as they look at the situation, they weigh the public safety, and then they back off. But in this case, they kept with it, and then they actually were calling for 2 helicopters at one point. One of them needed
2 helicopters.
But didn't want to let it go. So
they were inspecting the vehicle. This was the suspect's vehicle.
Pretty serious.
So just for people who weren't following this,
open, welcome in.
Video of this individual.
You can dance if you want to.
On the road again. This was a pursuit on the 110.
You can
near downtown LA.
Grab your fucking balls. I don't remember the names. I don't remember the words of that song.
For a criminal threat. That is all.
Joe Cocker was awesome.
And so far, that is all we know. There you see the vehicle on the right side of your screen. This is just.
But open, when you do that, I think Belushi.
Live on
John Belushi?
Screen, which is the car has come to a stop, and that individual has gone inside of that building. But
I get my Belushis mixed up. One's dead, one's not. One's Jim, one's John.
Freeway, that's a bit more reckless, creating his own lane, essentially going against traffic. Even the way he came and stopped there in front of this building, he was facing the opposite side of traffic as well. So there you have the live feed on the left. On the right, you have what was happening.
Jim's still, the bad actor is still with us. The good actor is dead.
One thing I keep thinking
John
about
is dead.
is once inside of this building, this person can change clothes, change their appearance, you know, whether he knows someone inside or is hiding somewhere because they know the building well.
Hell yeah, Peace Fire now.
Or we
Shout out.
get any kind of a resolution here.
Definitely, and you know those officers, they
almost rated Peace Fire now.
I saw them trying to
last night, I think it was, not before last.
Actual mechanism, but all those officers that made their way in there, if somebody doesn't allow them,
we were doing not news, and they were doing news.
Both ways, meaning they probably can't even get into the apartment building. They probably need a key or some kind of fob to get into the stairwells to get out of the parking garage. So right now, officers down in most of them made their way. There you go again. He's trying to open that gate. You know.
I try to kind of keep you guys with the vibe that we're doing.
Very brute. Getting at least they're getting that.
Like if I'm rating out of news, I keep you going with news.
They have weapons drawn, all of them at one point, and so like again, I have.
We're like listening to music or something. I try to need like a music chat.
Is really wanted for the officers now making their way out. I know one of the officers.
Jason's always good.
The building. I wish I had a little bit more information. If we knew that this
stoner chat with music going, a little news in there.
The apartment number. I
might be talking about some current events.
It is not because of the fact that these
officers. Oh, don't forget, I'm going to be on with Globus this Friday.
Now, a search for a very dangerous.
Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
To an end out here in Koreatown.
Well, Stu, thank you, and to Sky Fox.
That wasn't Chris Christie. That was Stu. I'm sorry.
At this point, we're just going to end it right here. We'll continue to keep an eye on things, of course.
Now, this happened earlier today, so I don't have like an update. I can't look that one up and tell you, exactly how it was resolved. They might have caught the people. They might have not. Who knows? The Globus on Friday, I'm going to be off. Like, that's the only thing I'm doing on Friday. My buddy's going to be down. It's WrestleMania weekend. I'm going to be taking Saturday off. Unless there is a possibility. I've thrown it out to him if he wanted to get on... if he wanted to get on stream and watch some wrestling with you guys. He hasn't decided what, like, he'll actually be... Battle Opossum might actually be on camera, watch some wrestling. He's a wealth of knowledge about wrestling. So he might enjoy it. And then Sunday, we're doing the Pleads the 5th Anniversary Spectacular. We're starting at noon. Noon Eastern Time. I could have Media Winch fill in, like, do music requests and shit in. That's always a thing I can do. She said, like, she'd be happy to fill in and do the Troll Patrol if I ever wanted her to. And I said, maybe. I could give her my graphics and everything. Remember last night I played you the video of the Blue Origin flight to space? That didn't actually go to space. Oprah's buddy Gayle King says, you should do it. You should go to space.
Irritating because they never say men went for a ride. What do you say to people who think that this was frivolous or just a ride? I think the message that it sends is very, very powerful. And the people that say that, by the way, weren't there. But go ahead.
I wish they could have seen the face of Zofia. I don't know if you got a chance to meet her, but she's a 6-year-old who we hosted. And to say she was excited is an understatement. And I asked her, okay, you've now gotten a chance to see a launch. What do you want to do? And she's like, I want to go to space, and I want to help protect Earth. And I'm like, that is why we're here.
And I think people need to understand it's not a either or, it's a both and.
There you go.
And when you look at the work that Blue Origin does to keeping us safe and always trying to advance the cause and what they're trying to do with the company and how they operate. And I don't work for Blue Origin, but I think I was one of these people that go, I don't know why we got to do this until you educate yourself. And see what is happening there. I think you'll have a very different perspective.
Well, it's obvious you two learned something about yourself, but it's important to remind everybody that we learned something about space exploration.
Yes.
Every time we go up into space. And it should
they didn't go up into space.
So much we appreciate you.
Like the William Shatner quote that I read last night, apparently it's a common thing for astronauts to come back and feel very depressed. Like, Shatner said he thought it was going to be like a celebration, but it felt more like a funeral. And that was an interesting perspective. Here's one for you, though. Kesha dunked on Katy Perry. Wendy's jokingly asked if Katy Perry could be sent back into space. And apparently Kesha endorses that sentiment as well. Monday, April 14th, Perry joined Gayle King, Lauren Sanchez, and 3 other women aboard the Blue Origin spacecraft for a brief 11-minute journey to space. It's not space. It's like the lower, or it's the upper atmosphere, or whatever it's fucking called. Katy Perry has returned from space. The official Twitter account for the fast food chain Wendy's. What kind of capitalist hellscape is this where Wendy's is dunking on people? Quickly chimed in with a cheeky response. Can we send her back? A comment that quickly went viral. Not long after Wendy's tweet comment, Kesha posted a photo on Twitter with no caption, but of herself with a Wendy's cup, smiling at the camera. Coincidence? Very likely not. Kesha and Perry have had a strained relationship for quite a while, as Kesha was notably entangled in a years-long lawsuit with producer Dr. Luke, alleging abuse and harassment. Meanwhile, Perry has continued to work with Dr. Luke. She took a lot of flack for that. Enlisting him behind the boards for every track on her 2024 album, 143, and defending him publicly. All the way back in 2016 when Kesha first launched her suit against Dr. Luke, she texted Lady Gaga expressing frustration that Perry wouldn't speak out against Dr. Luke. She suggested that Perry could bring the whole thing to a head but won't. Gaga responded acknowledging that Perry makes me angry about shit, but I just try to have empathy for her. Oh my God! That was Lady Gaga politely saying that Katy Perry is stupid. Oh my God, that's great. Perry denied allegations that she herself had been assaulted by Dr. Luke and expressed annoyance in being involved in the dispute, stating she felt annoyed at both Luke and Kesha. Still, Perry continued to work with Luke. When asked about her involvement with him, Perry deflected, saying, I am speaking from my own experience. The truth is, I wrote these songs from my experience. The last album she made was about women empowerment and shit. And she worked with Dr. Luke, a known rapist. That's why this is a deal. I wrote these songs from my experience of my whole life going through this metamorphosis, and he was one of the people to help facilitate that. Kesha's in the midst of a new album rollout with her upcoming project, Period, arriving on July 4th via her new label, Kesha Records. We named it one of her most anticipated albums of 2025. She also recently announced the Tits Out Tour. God, I love her so much. I might have to go see her again.
A titty slap!
Come on, man.
Kesha isn't the only celebrity to take a dig at Perry over her involvement in the Blue Origin spaceflight. In a post to her Instagram stories, actress Olivia Wilde shared a meme of Perry kissing the ground after, I thought she kissed a girl, not the ground. That one sucked. I'm sorry. I'll see myself out. After returning to Earth, and wrote, $1 billion bought some good memes, I guess. Meanwhile, actress Olivia Munn called the whole expedition gluttonous. And also, don't forget from my meme, this was your meme of the day earlier. Sorry, you're a peasant or whatever. The winners of the National Football Championship made a trip to the White House yesterday. And J.D. Vance apparently made a fool of himself. Like, the players are being so careful with it. You see them. He's so awkward. Hey, Flea, do you love having this dipshit as a vice president? Come on. Why is he trying to pick up the trophy anyway? That should absolutely be a Democratic political ad, and whoever runs for the Senate seat. Yeah, imagine if Biden had done that. It'd be all over the news. I barely even heard about it. I didn't hear about it before the show last night. I saw the clip. Late night show, maybe? A 5.2 magnitude earthquake shakes San Diego. For some reason, I want to say I saw Kimmel talk about it. I want to say I saw the clip on Twitter, maybe. I know I watched Jon Stewart's rant last night, but I also only had it on in the background. I don't even remember him talking about it, so I don't know if it was that. Something like that. A 5.2 earthquake in San Diego County was caught on camera.
To Ashley Pinnock and her family, Monday's 5.2 magnitude quake had a sound and feel like she'd never experienced.
It sounds like a rumbling in the earth. It sounds like the earth's upset. That's what it sounds like.
This security camera captured her motherly instinct when their Ramona home began to shake. Pinnock grabbed her 9-month-old son, Michael, and ran straight out the front door. On closer examination, you could see the broken ceiling plaster falling. She thought the ceiling was collapsing.
That's what I thought was cracking, was the ceiling up there.
After what seemed longer but really lasted about 30 seconds, the ceiling remained intact but not whole.
We have a couple cracks up there in our wall, and a few more that happened and got worse from the earthquake.
While it's still being added up by most accounts, the damage caused by this quake is considered minimal. By comparison, according to the Southern California earthquake data, the 1987 Whittier quake, which measured 5.9, killed 8 people and caused some $400 million in damage. But it was centered around the more populated area of East Los Angeles. At the moment, for those who experienced it, it seemed no less threatening. This infant was startled awake by pictures falling from the walls. Elephants formed an alert circle at the nearby safari park.
Glass falling, whiskey, scotch, an assortment of different bottles.
While in the restroom, Mountain Spirits manager Dylan...
Man, you would think if you had a liquor store in California, you'd have some sort of little... Like, you can get like a guardrail for the shelves, can't you? I know it probably makes it harder to pull them out, but man, like, it'd save you some trouble anytime because this kind of happens frequently.
Carnero lost $500 in high-end whiskey that fell from the shelves. The quake rocked this balcony outside a Julian apartment.
I feel like that's bound to be a thing already.
South of Julian on Belvedere Drive, which is thought to be the epicenter.
It seemed like the ground was moaning and like you had thunder underneath your feet.
Karen McFall and her husband lost a few...
I like that Flash is always trying to hustle.
Also, their power...
I don't have that mentality.
Other earthquakes, but never so close to the middle of the activity.
It's pretty scary. I feel bad for all those people who've actually done that, because I'm still a little...
I'm victim blaming, yes.
Moments captured on cameras when most people would agree it's a worry they'd rather forget. In Julian, Dave Summers, NBC 7.
Yeah.
Wild video. Earthquakes in California, severe storms in the middle of the country. We're going to see some footage of some of the storms that are still plaguing the Midwest. And we're going to get a story of a harrowing dog rescue.
And 1 month ago,
This is your animal video for today.
Through Mississippi, one of them an EF4, leaving behind destruction, heartbreak, and incredible stories of survival. In Tylertown, 2 massive twisters hit within the span of an hour. As residents Curtis Bush, miles away, rushed home, his worst fears were...
More Bush.
A tornado had ripped through his family's home, ripping it off of its foundation and violently hurling his wife and teenage son more than 100 yards away from the home. They did survive, but just barely. Lying beside them in the debris was one of their beloved dogs, lifeless. But the heartbreak wasn't over. Their second dog, Linus, an 11-year-old yellow lab, was also missing. As days passed with no sign, the family reached out for help. Volunteers began searching, and nearly a mile away, a neighbor spotted a dog matching Linus's description. Later, drone operator Jason Miller was called in, and after 10 long days, Linus was found, and this was his reaction to them locating him.
Yo, that's my man.
Oh.
Oh.
Jelly, good evening.
For more on this incredible reunion, I want to bring in Curtis Bush and Jason Miller. Jason,
and the puppy.
Such an incredible rescue, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But I do want to begin with Curtis. Curtis, take us back to this day. What was going through your mind as you were rushing home and you started to understand the magnitude of this situation?
It was the most desperate feeling you could have as a parent and as a husband to not know what their status was, not to know what the status of your home is. Just try to get to them as quick as I could.
Absolutely, and you were miles away, but you know, you get the word that your home was impacted. You finally get to the scene, you see the destruction, and you realize that your wife and son, they did survive. But what was that moment like for you? How are they both holding up? Are they doing well as they, you know, begin their healing process?
They're healing up better every day. Every day is an improvement for both of them. My son just got a good check today from the orthopedic surgeon, so we're just keep pushing forward.
Absolutely, it's all about that resilience, and I'm glad to hear that he's doing okay so far. And
I guess he meant checkup. I was like, who are these orthopedic surgeons?
This is like a family member to you guys.
Handing out money.
What was this moment like for the family when you got the call that he was finally found?
We kind of, there was a loss of hope at one point, and it's been so long, how does he survive? And then to get the phone call that, you know, maybe they sighted him was just an amazing feeling. And then when Jason called me that night, middle of the night, to tell me he had found him was just, it's an unbelievable relief.
And how is Linus doing now? I'm sure he's happy to be back home with you guys.
Let's see Linus.
He's doing great. He doesn't want to leave my side very much. He's right there by me every chance he gets.
Gonna hug that hip. Jason, this was such an incredible rescue. Now, I do want to take us back to locating the dog because I want to talk about maybe some challenges.
Wait a minute, Linus looks different now.
Was just devastated by an EF4 tornado. How was that process of launching your drone and locating Linus?
You know, right off the bat, I knew it was going to be a challenge. We're actually using a thermal drone where we're looking for heat signatures. And because there's so much destruction, there's so much metal, there's concrete, there's broken trees everywhere, all those objects give heat signatures. And so I knew it was going to take a while to try to find him. And especially with the area right next to him, it was covered with some new growth pine trees. And so I was really having to fly slow and really pick it apart to look for him. And so it's great seeing the story again, because I just got chills all over again by watching this.
I can only imagine. You helped in such a remarkable reunion for this family. I want to talk about that personally. How does it feel to play such a huge role in reuniting the dog with the family and making sure he's okay in all of this rubble?
It's one of the highlights of my life, actually, because we are dog owners. We have 5 dogs, and so when I
love puppies
and how much devastation was going on, I knew that helping find Linus would bring back some hope back into their lives, and so it was everything.
Oh, did one of them not survive? I didn't hear that.
I was looking for him straight, and so when I first saw him hit that screen, you actually see me break down because I knew how much this was going to mean to their family.
Absolutely, and that's such an incredible response to even be that heartfelt for a family that nearly lost everything. Curtis, I want to talk to you about that because you did lose a lot, including another dog. How
okay.
And helped you and your family begin to heal.
Oh, that's sad. I thought it was a happy story.
Got out of the hospital, so it added a little bit more special to it to be able to get him home with her, and just having him there with us. You know, we lost one of our dogs, but you know, to be able to put our family somewhat back together was a special day, and it was all because of Jason.
Well, here's a cat.
Jason, incredible work again. I can't say it enough. I'm sure that, you know, the Bush family is really appreciative of all your hard work. Curtis, I wish you, your wife,
oh, sweet baby,
happy, you know, way back to healing with this. I know this is going to be a long haul heal.
If you're watching on Twitch, you're heading over to Jason Society.
Both for joining us here.
Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol live.